And wait, not yet, but now. Yo, what's up, everybody? It's your boy NoisySauce and your man.
T-Dog. Trav. Never referred to myself as that before.
Never been T-Dog. T-Bone.
T-Train.
It's T-Train and the Noisy Boy. And we're here to talk about plugins. So
That's it.
I'm just going to move that over so I can see the old comment section, because I'm sure there's going to be some opinions discussed today when it comes to plugins.
Oh, yeah.
So we've both been engineering audio, recording audio, producing music, all the fun stuff, live in studios, at home, all that kind of shit for the past...
It's got to be the better part of 10 years or something, right?
Well, I started my degree in 2007. So...
Oh, yeah. It's pretty similar. I started in 2009.
Okay. So
Yeah.
you're on...
Where did you study again?
Box Hill.
Box Hill, that's right.
Yeah.
And
And
NMIT.
NMIT. Okay, cool. Yeah, so... And, I mean, been hard at it ever since then. So we've gone through a few plugins in our time, used a lot of shit, and we're just gonna talk about it. Get into what's our favorites, different stuff, why we like different things, little tricks, using plugins in unusual ways, all that kind of stuff. So, do you have any idea where you want to start?
I was just going to say, let's just start with, like, what were you always... What is most likely to be on a channel, like on one of your channel strips?
Okay.
Like, any other, like, what is your go-to? Like, you just slap it on straight away. You already just know it's going to be there.
On anyone, or on a specific? I
mean, I've got one plugin in particular I use on almost every bus, and most channels.
Okay.
Yeah.
On a channel, the most likely to be on there. It depends if in production. If I'm producing, it would probably be, and this is going to be very telling of my style. One knob filter.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Waves one knob filter is probably the most likely plugin. There's a few that kind of fit that realm, but if we're talking, if I'm talking mixing like a band or something like that, Virtual Mix Rack by Slate, which is
I haven't got the Slate stuff.
Yeah, that's like I'm hard on the Slate stuff, but that is probably either that or the SSL channel strip from Waves is my go-to for EQ and compression. But I mean, there's so much in the VMR. So what the Virtual Mix Rack is from Slate, it's kind of like a 500 series rack almost, like, but a digital one, and you can just plug a whole bunch of different stuff in. So they've got like Neve style EQs, they've got like SSL style EQs, they got 1176s, they've got saturators, pretty much everything you can think of in terms of mixing and saturation is available in there. So it's a bit of a cheat one, but you know, I like it.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
What about you?
Filter. Mine is, like, ever since I bought it, the Waves Sheps Omnichannel. I froth that plugin so much.
I mean, that's another cheat one.
Everything I want.
It's got so much stuff on it.
I love it, man. It's like I can get the sound quickly without having to pull up 5 or 6 plugins.
That's why I like the VMR as well.
And it saves so much processing power for me.
Oh, really?
Well, like,
I would have thought that one would have been quite heavy on it, on the processing.
Well, it probably is, but it's like the equivalent of using 6 or 7 plugins.
Yeah.
So it's like the saturator is like, I love that.
Yeah.
Reading Brad's comment.
Well, I like.
He did strike me as a one knob guy.
I think I don't think he's taking the piss. I am I really like the one knob series from Waves, but that's a whole other thing that I'll get into later. But I'll talk about that when it comes. But yes, I am a one knob kind of guy. So
I'm just going to talk about the Omni-channel for a second.
Yeah, tell us what's in there.
It's basically a giant channel strip. So it has saturation, and it has 3 stages of saturation.
Oh, wow.
It's kind of just like a low, medium, and high type kind of thing. Or they're different flavors of saturation, which work better on different instruments or whatever. And then it's got EQ, which can be mid-side.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Or just stereo or dual mono.
Yeah.
Which most EQs are. It's got 2 DSs built into it. And it's got a compressor built into it, which also has 3 different styles. So you've got your FET compressor, is it VCA compressor, and what's the other one? Forgotten the other one. Omni.
No, Opto?
Opto. Fuck, yeah. That's it. Opto.
Omni?
It's got those 3. And the really cool thing is about that compressor function is you can flick through the different kinds without having to actually change any of your gains or your thresholds or anything like that.
Really? That's
cool. You can actually hear the different characteristics of the different compressors by just clicking a few buttons.
That's
you don't have to change any of your settings. Whereas like if you're trying to like do ABs on compressors, like bypassing plugins in a channel strip, it's a bit harder because you got to match everything.
Yeah, true.
But it's got that. The compressor as well. It's got a limiter built into it, and it also has the ability to use wave plugins as inserts.
Oh, really?
Well. Yeah.
As inserts?
And the whole thing's modular, so you can move anything you want anywhere.
With the EQ, you only get one. You said you get two DSs. You only get one compressor, one limiter, and you kind of just choose which one you want to use. I mean, that's more than like what you'd want to use anyway. Like, you wouldn't really want to be stacking up those kind of compressors.
Yeah,
I mean, you might, but
the other really cool thing is the presets are also really good.
Oh yeah,
it's like it gets you in a good place really fast.
Yeah,
which is really cool.
So you can just
even if you don't know what the fuck you're doing, you can just go in and go presets, vocal, and it will sound okay.
Yeah, okay, and then you can just tweak it from there.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of some presets. If
I've
they're
never
good,
really
they're good.
used presets until the Omni-channel.
Oh, really? So the flavor of it, would you say it's quite colored, or is it fairly neutral sounding plugin? I mean, obviously the saturation's going to have some color in it, but like the EQ and the compression.
Yeah, it's got its own flavor to it, but it's emulating the classics, you know.
Yeah. Okay. Do you know what the EQ's emulating? If anything.
Not off the top of my head.
Yeah,
I think it's an SSL.
Oh, yeah. Classic.
Style. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like it's got like a few different like buttons inside of that too, which also emulate different things.
Yeah, okay.
Like you've got your notch filter, like your high pass filter, and all that kind of stuff, you know? Like everyone has its own characteristic and it emulates a certain kind of EQ.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Ah,
it's
nice.
Really cool. It's like, I use the shit out of that.
Use the shit out of it. That's sick.
I love it.
So that's your go-to. That's your go-to channel strip, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I would say mine.
Yeah, I should say that like I use that for flavor. Obviously, I don't use that for fixing stuff. Really.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like your standard go-to. Like that would be the sound of
strip I go for
of you.
Yeah.
Of your mix would be that one. Whereas if you were fixing stuff, you would probably use something more like the Pro Q2.
Yes. That's right. Shall we dive in?
Oh, I mean, it's a bit of a subject. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna finish that bit up saying So if you're going with the Sheps, I'd go with the Slate. Fairly similar, but completely different in functionality. But I think they both do a fairly good job of just like getting the job done, getting the flavors that you want in there quickly and all that kind of stuff. I do tend to go to the SSL channel quite a bit as well. The Waves one, I can't remember what it's called, the SSLG or whatever it is. I think that's just a really nice quick way of just getting some flavor in there. And so I do chuck that on quite a bit as well.
I haven't used that in a long time, actually. Come to think of it, I use the SSL bus compressor a lot, but I don't use just the channel strip, the SSL channel strip.
That thing's a classic. I don't have that.
It is a classic.
The bus compressor.
Oh yeah.
But I do have a version of.
It's so good. It's so creamy.
The Slate's got a version of the bus compressor, which is quite good as well.
Yeah.
You share some screenshots of these plugins without killing the screen.
Yeah, I reckon.
Do you want to take care of doing that, because I've got both my screens being used for my stream.
Yeah, that's cool.
I'm screening for streaming.
So we'll go. Which plugin should I bring up at the moment?
Maybe chuck the Sheps one, like kind of give an idea of what the Sheps layout looks like.
Yep. And I'll also bring up. And also, I know we're going to talk about this eventually, so I'll bring that up.
Hell yeah. I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. So, plug-in bundles. What have you? Let's get an overall of what bundles in your arsenal. Like, let's get an idea of how much you've spent on software in the past 10 years.
So
just try to
went backwards.
Rattle them out. See what you got.
Yeah. Okay. I ended up, my first ever bundle I bought was the Waves Gold bundle.
Yep.
And then I eventually upgraded that.
What to?
I think it was to the premium.
Premium?
Is it premium or platinum?
Platinum would be. Yeah.
It must be platinum.
Yeah.
Yeah. Upgraded to that, and then I ended up buying the H series bundle.
Yep.
So I've got,
the H series delay and
all
reverb.
Stuff.
Yep.
The delay, reverb, compressor.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. I mean, in terms of bundles, I reckon I've probably spent more on individual plugins than I have on bundles.
Yeah.
Why can't... Oh, the Q3's out now. That's why I'm finding it hard to
find. It's hard to see the Pro Q2. Yeah. I want to go to the Pro Q3. It's I just can't justify the extra... Which plugin company are you irrationally loyal to?
Is that a question, is it?
That's what Berkey said. I'd say Slate for me. I don't know why. I love Slate. I love their stuff. I probably don't need it, but I would say I am irrationally loyal to them.
Oh, you have the host disabled screen sharing. You could disable that.
What's that? Oh,
in the Zoom settings.
Sorry,
we've got screen sharing disabled.
Screen sharing disabled. Share screen. How do I? I don't. Tech support.
Jesus.
I haven't got it disabled on my end. I don't know how. I'm pretty sure I can share screen.
Go to your settings and then share screen.
Yep. One participant can share at a time. Here we go. Who can share? All participants. There we go.
That's the one. That'll do it.
All right.
Good on you, mate.
No worries. Gotcha.
All right.
No, we are not going to have a... oh, shit. There we go.
Can you see that?
Yeah, it's the whole screen.
All right, awesome.
Hell yeah.
All right, sweet. Yeah, so this is the Shep's omni-channel that I
Oh
was
yeah, I
talking
see.
about. It's got a couple more features that I forgot to mention.
Yeah.
But you can sidechain most things, like the you can sidechain the DSs and the compressors. It's got a gate as well and an expander. But what I use the most is the saturation.
Yeah.
I mainly use the odd setting.
Yeah,
and
okay.
I pretty much almost put that on everything because it just like
just a little
something
bit of flavor.
it just warms everything up. It fills everything out a bit.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's one of the best saturators I've ever had. I use the filters quite a bit as well. It's really quick to just filter out the shit I don't need.
Yeah.
Thump is kind of cool. It just like boosts the low end around like the 100 hertz ish area.
Oh yeah.
Which is not too bad. It's another quick way of getting something sounding better.
Yep.
I don't generally use that. I like to fine tune stuff.
Yeah.
The EQ is really cool. By the way, you can see these little window buttons up here.
Yeah.
You can double click those and it opens that one strip, like the EQ, to full screen.
Oh, okay. So you can like really get into it.
Stereo and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, really cool. Yeah, and you can kind of it's just it's mad.
That does look sick. I should buy that one.
Yeah.
Although I've got too much stuff.
You can grab these and they're all modular.
Yeah.
So you can put the compressor first or the EQ or whatever. And then you can insert wave plugins over here or anywhere in your chain that you want it. But,
that's insane.
I don't really use that. I'd rather just chuck the plug-in on my channel strip.
Yeah, so you can see it.
Yeah. But you can do it here. I mean, that would be cool for maybe live use.
Yeah, true.
Could be maybe worth it. But yeah, that's the Shep's.
Or if you wanted to create like a preset that has like all these plugins, including your extra waves ones, that was just like that's your preset for that, and you bring that up when on whatever channel, like vocals or whatever.
Yeah.
And it brings all of that shit in together.
Yeah, exactly. And I've got that exact thing set up on my vocal chain as well. I've got one of these ready to go always.
That's cool.
What about what the? That ain't the right. Here we go. Here we go.
So we're talking one knob. So I actually only have two of these, but I use both of them quite a bit. The first one being the filter. That bad boy. And
their pictures are a bit big, mate.
Yeah, it's huge.
Let me try and do a bit of sorcery here. Here we go.
I mean, you don't really. There's not much to it. All it's got is one knob, and actually, it also has that button down the bottom resonance, which you can change the level of your resonant frequency, which is pretty cool. But man, if you just want to like bring up something, rip out the high end, and make it sound kind of like more lo-fi, that plugin, it ends up on so many of my tracks. I'm a pretty...
It's cool.
I like darker sounds, so I end up using a lot of filtering, but yeah. That one's good.
It looks nice as well. Like it's a nice looking plugin.
It's just quick. One thing I like about a plugin is how quick you can get it to sound the way you want it to sound, and that one obviously is there for that purpose. The other one of the series which I use quite a bit, is the one knob driver, which is that guy. Same deal.
That's cool.
Just one knob, just brings up some distortion. Cool thing about that plugin is it when it brings up the distortion, it kind of sucks down the high and the low, so you get a little bit of filtering in there as well. And I end up, funnily enough, using that on kick drums, just a little bit, when they're like a big subby, fat low end kick drum, just to bring up the mid range a little bit without changing the overall EQ curve too much. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, cool, really cool set of plugins. Worth getting. Now, are we talking? We're talking the big bad boy.
See, it changes over to.
Well, we can still talk about it.
Well, we can still use the. It looks pretty similar.
Yeah. I want to know in the chat how many people we got in the chat. We got 7 people. We probably got 4 people talking. How many of you guys own Pro Q2 or Pro Q3? I reckon it's got to be at least 50%. It's one of the best plugins I've ever seen. What to talk about with it? Like,
it's man, it's just like if you need the EQ to do a job, this is the one. This is my go-to every single time.
Yeah,
without a doubt.
Yeah,
you can pretty much add like unlimited bands. You can obviously do mid-side. You can just do regular stereo.
Yeah, you can do left. You can EQ the left and the right separately of each other. That's insane.
Yeah.
You can,
and then there's like the frequency. What is it? The EQ matching.
Oh, that's insane.
Really fucking crazy, man.
So anyone who doesn't know what the EQ matching is you can sidechain another sound source into the plugin and play it at the same time as you're playing the audio that you're doing, and it will change the EQ of your source audio to match your sidechained audio, which if you're like, it doesn't work so well for things like vocals and stuff because they're a little bit too similar, but like guitar tones, if you have a distorted guitar tone that has a really cool sound to it, and then you want your guitar to sound like that, and you manage to get it sounding like, as long as they're not too dissimilar, if you put that plugin on there, you can get them like really close to each other.
Yeah, super close.
Yeah,
it's really cool. I've found, especially for like if you've started a song on a microphone, but you weren't able to finish that song on that microphone, you can finish it on a different mic, and then you can just EQ match it to the other microphone.
And it sounds pretty good.
I've tried that, and it works pretty well.
Fuck.
I think I tried with something crazy, like it was some like good condenser.
Yeah.
And then I like tried to EQ match of like a 58 to a condenser mic.
Yeah.
And it did a pretty good job.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So just like stuff like that where you need to like achieve something that's like, it's going to be a pain.
Yeah.
This can just like kind of smash it out for you. Even like doing like a reference, like it doesn't really work that well with referencing, I've noticed.
Yeah, okay.
Like if you've got like your song that's mixed and you want it to sound like another song, and then you run an EQ match on it, it goes crazy.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't know what to do because there's too much going on.
Yeah.
But for single source stuff, it's very good, like guitars and vocals and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty insane. Not like my favorite thing about the plugin, hands down, is the spectrum analyzer. Like,
it's amazing. I've got it on my master bus always.
Same.
Always, even if it's not actually EQing anything, it's just strictly for the audio analyzer.
Yeah.
Frequency analyzer. Yeah.
I mean,
so fucking good.
Anyone who's seen me make a beat, like the last thing I usually do before I finish up is like check that, and make sure everything's looking good. There's no like messed up shit that's poking out anywhere, and it's kind of it's definitely good for just checking audio. The spectrum analyzer, it's so accurate as well, which is insane.
It's amazing.
Rent all the super expensive mics, then just use a 58 and EQ match everything for the rest of your life. I don't know if that's how it works, but I appreciate that. I mean, it's worth giving it a go.
Oh, here's a cool trick I did with this plugin.
Yeah.
I wanted to know I did this for like the little like tiny mountain videos that we were doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know how we're just like doing jams and we're just throwing them up on Facey and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
You remember those? Yeah.
Yeah.
When we were at the Marshall Street Studios. And I used this because I was like, I really want to emulate an iPhone speaker because I want to know what my mixes are kind of going to sound like on phones because that's where most people are going to watch it. So what I did is I just used my Neumann mic as a reference mic, played some pink noise at full frequency on my monitors, my Atom monitors, recorded that, and then I did the exact same thing on my phone, brought up the same video or whatever with pink noise, recorded that with my Neumann mic, same distance with my phone, and then EQ matched it to my monitors. So that way I could actually I would have the same frequency response
as what you'd be hearing
from speakers as what I'm hearing on my phone. So then I could turn that on and then mix a track to see what it would roughly sound like on phone speakers.
How did it sound? Like did it sound like it was coming out of the phone?
I learned that you've got to overcompress things a lot. For phones to sound like punchy.
Yeah.
And I used a lot of like max bass.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, where like you use certain like harmonizers to kind of kick everything up an octave, especially like a lot with low end.
Yeah.
If it's sitting around like the 100 hertz, phones can't produce anything like that. They're getting better, but yeah, if you can bring it up into like the 300 range, and maybe it's even a little bit more, you can kind of get like that kick drum happening in your phone. Yeah, which is like really interesting.
Yeah. Oh man.
Obviously, the driver size and stuff is completely different, so it won't be exactly the same. It won't sound exactly the same, but
yeah, they use a lot
close. Good enough to. Yeah.
There's a lot of software trickery in phones to try and get the low end kind of audible, and knowing what they do with it is kind of half the trick to getting your stuff actually coming through. Like I think they do use a lot of those kind of boosters and stuff to try and get the kick audible, but man, phones are always impossible to get the sound of.
Yeah. But I know that there's an app on iPhones. I don't have an iPhone, so I can't use it, sadly. I know Dave Pensato talks about it.
I know the one you're talking about.
On his channel, where there's like a plugin that links via Bluetooth to your phone, and you can send your mix bus out to your phone, so you can actually hear exactly what it's going to sound like on your phone, which is really cool.
That is a cool plugin.
Yeah, I'm like, too bad it's only Apple.
Yeah. One thing, this isn't really plugin related, and this is kind of a talk for another time, but I've just started doing this more recently, as check my mixes through my laptop speakers before I bounce anything out. And I think like in a similar way, it's not quite phone speakers, but you still kind of get an idea of how it's sounding through a really crappy set of speakers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good stuff.
All
so
right.
that's Pro Q2.
Yeah. Expensive.
$270.
Cost me like
$70, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
250, I think.
If anyone's like, I just want a good EQ, this is the one I would say every time.
Every time. If I could only have one EQ, if I could only have one plugin on my computer, it would be this plugin. Hands down.
Ooh. Yeah. All right. So what EQs do you use for flavor?
Oh, that is a question.
Yeah.
Oh man, I've got so many. All right, let's get into it. So for flavor, so I'll start with the Slate digital one where we started off.
Yeah.
So I would use the there's a few different EQs in there. I'd use the Neve one. I think it's the FGN is what it's called. It is in Slate's FMR plug-in that we were talking about before. So there's a version of the Neve 1073 EQ that is really good for bringing in bite or growl, like so around like the 750 hertz or up around like the 2 to 4K to give a bit of bite. That plugin's got a really cool feature where you can bump up the drive of it, and that kind of emulates boosting up the line level. Yeah, this one here.
Which one? Sorry.
The just left of what you're on now, the FGN.
FGN.
You're just over it.
Oh,
yeah, that one. Yeah, so that little red knob on the bottom right there, that's a little drive button, drive section. I don't think it. You got to keep going down.
There we go.
Yeah, there it is. And that's really cool because it drives the frequency that you're boosting. So you kind of get this like multi-band drive section almost, and that's really cool. Especially in the low mids region. If you like crank the low mid section and then boost that, you get like this really cool like aggressive drive going on. Love that. There's one called the Classic EQ, I think it's called. It's a white one. Might be up the top.
Classic.
Oh god. Yeah.
I'll head back to the previous.
Yeah, just stay on this page. You'll be able to see it. Go down. It's on the left there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Custom Series EQ.
Custom Series EQ. That one's been built around. Yeah. It's up a bit.
Finicky. Fuck it.
Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Just zoom back out.
That one, like, they've done a whole lot of work on that, and each of the, like, there's 3 bands on each of the, 3 frequencies on each of the bands, and they're all modeled off like a different hardware EQ that they think that EQ is perfect for that frequency. And so it's like having like 20 EQs in one and just using the best parts of it. And whether you go up or down changes which EQ it emulates. So it's really cool. But the top band of that one is just beautiful for adding like sizzle and like sweetness to like a vocal or even a whole mix. That's a really solid one. What else have we got? The Pultec EQ emulator from the Puigtec, the one from Waves. The blue one. That for high end, again, is really good for vocals and whole mixes, like the top band of
How do you spell that?
Puig Puig TEC, I think it's called. Puigtec.
Here we go.
Yeah. That one. All right.
The compressor or EQ?
The first one, the EQ. And so this guy, that top band there, so on the bottom one, if you crank that to like 12 or 16 and give that a fucking boost, she is tight. Really good sound. And
I own this EQ and I have not really used it that much.
Dude, the top end on that EQ is one of the nicest things you'll put on something. And I'm gonna give you a little tip right here. This is like something I found one day and I use it fucking all the time. So the other one, the 5 one, the mid-range one, just jump over to that one. No, the other one. There we go. No.
That's interesting. Really interesting.
Can
Apparently, it doesn't matter where you click.
Standing
Stand by.
Doesn't. Yeah. Oh no! You gotta go across. Image across. Yeah. Yeah. So this guy. So that bottom one, the bottom peak, if you put that on 500 on a vocal, and boost it up, you will get that low mid body for your vocal without the mud. That is
Interesting.
I found it one day because I was just looking for that, and I was going through all my plugins and trying to find something that sounded decent in that low mid range on a vocal, without like making it sound shitty and muddy. And this plugin, 500 hertz, boost the shit out of it, and it sounds fucking amazing. 100%.
Oh man, I want to try that now.
Yeah, dude.
That's really cool.
Love it.
Hell yes.
In terms of other ones for flavor, I think, man, I've got a few, but those are probably like my best tidbit ones.
I actually use the V.
Oh, the
V stuff quite a bit.
They used to be my favorite.
And I use those EQs all the time.
Actually, I went to try and find mine the other day and I lost them. I couldn't find them in my system.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know where it went. I must just be under a different, like, I don't know, hiding somewhere. They're cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I use this one quite a lot, actually.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Something about it.
Yeah.
On vocals, because I find that the top end... Sorry. Butters just ran into all my life just then.
Nice.
I use it for a lot of top end because I find at the top end and it's quite nice.
Yep.
It's not harsh.
Yeah.
It's like the main thing. It's got a really nice high pass as well.
There's something about stepped things that like are stepped that you can't get in between the frequencies of. I don't know what it is about them, but they just feel good, even though it's a plug-in, and they could just sweep it. It's like doesn't make any difference to them, but like I don't know, it's something about stepped frequencies that are really cool.
Yeah,
don't know what.
Yeah, I love that stuff.
Yeah,
I use that actually quite a lot on kick and snare as well.
Oh yeah,
just because you can kind of just go, all right, yeah, I want my kick to sit at like 4K.
Yeah.
Or 5K, depends on what kind of track it is. And you can easily just get it and just boost it, and it just sounds good with this plugin, I find.
Yeah.
And you can get like a nice body as well with your snare.
Around the 220.
Like 220 range.
Yeah.
Or you can use this side and get like the classic 200 thud. But yeah. I really like this one. I use it quite a bit.
Hell yeah.
Probably either like the Shep's Omnichannel for flavor or this.
Yeah.
Usually. Sometimes I use the is it the Shep's EQ? The 73.
Oh yeah. Real aggressive
sometimes as well.
Sounding EQ, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
You can kind of like, it sounds really weird when you get the drive on. Like it sounds way too much, like it's so way over the top. I
that's
don't ever
interesting.
really use that
but
I do however, boost the gain all the way up, and I find it gives it a bit of saturation, which is cool.
Yeah, that's funny because that's the part of my my 1073 emulator that I really like is the drive.
Oh really? Mine's like, well, that one in particular is really harsh.
Oh, okay.
There's like no mid ground. You kind of just switch it on, and it's like all or nothing kind of thing.
Oh, okay. With my one, you hit the drive, and then when you turn that line level up, it kind of determines how much drive you put in it.
Yeah.
So it's got a bit of mid range, playability there.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. So VEQ, we use the Shep 73. So far you're on waves quite a bit.
Yeah. I don't really use much else with EQ stuff. I guess I am pretty much exclusively waves with EQ, really.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything else I really use. Yeah.
Good stuff.
All right. Hell yeah. Well, do you want to move on to something else? Compressors, perhaps?
Maybe compressors. All right.
Son.
Oh. So compressors.
I'll
bring
up one of my favorites.
Let's start with a question. What's on your what's on your standard vocal bus? Like, if you brought up your latest vocal channel, what do you got start to finish?
I was actually mixing a track today, and I was trying to use the isotope stuff.
Oh yeah,
which is actually I used is it
Nectar? I think is the
it's the vocal one.
Oh no, I don't know what that one is.
I can't remember what it's called.
Oh, maybe
I don't know them well enough yet because I only just got them. Oh, that's like if that's still on sale, by the way, it's probably worth telling everybody.
Oh yeah, if you want to,
Isotope were doing a sick special where they got like a full bundle. It's like $50.
Yeah, and
so
it's like
$70 Australian.
$900 worth of plugins.
Yeah,
down to $50.
So it's like a really good special if you're looking for some shenanigans. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look it up on the Isotope website. I could probably actually have a.
Bust that open. Show them what's up. Hopefully it's
bust
still
that open, lickety split.
Lickety split.
If you're just looking for some extra spice. Yeah, you're actually the one that told me about this, and I bought it straight away.
Yeah, really cool. I didn't buy it because I already have half of it.
Oh, true.
But
yeah, so it's 49 American dollars. Yeah, it's about 70 or so dollars. I think it ends up being with tax $80.
Yeah.
But you get all of these plugins, which is pretty crazy.
I mean, Ozone Elements.
Eight plugins.
I think I paid more than that for Ozone Elements on its own.
Well, Ozone in itself is probably worth way more than that.
Insane.
It's like the mastering plugin, right?
Insane how good that is.
Yeah, so you get all this shit, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So I got that. So if anyone's looking for some shenanigans for cheap,
definitely get it. That includes Trash, which is one of my favorite plugins ever for sound manipulation and destruction of sound. Like, oh my god, that thing, it's so powerful. It is so powerful. Oh, yeah. It's like multi-band saturation, multi-band distortion, convolution, like not just reverb, but like convolution sounds. So like you can get the sound of guitar amps, you can get the sound of it being played through like different equipment or like old radios and shit like that. They've got a massive library in there of all the different shit you can do. There's 2 pretty powerful filters in there. You can swap all the channels around, like they're all quite easy to move around the place. What else is there in there? I'm trying to remember. 2 filters, the Trash, convolution. There's like a dynamic section and a delay section. All really cool. And I use it to mess shit up all the time. And the presets on it are really cool too.
I haven't really messed with it yet, but I'm looking forward to doing that. Because I've been waiting for a really cool, like, trashy plugin like that.
It is so much fun.
And stuff.
Like,
hell yeah.
You can do, like, you can completely change the sound of things. Like, you can change a percussion loop into a melodic phrase using that plugin.
Really?
Yeah, because there's so much power to it. It's insane.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Recommended.
Yeah. I don't really know a great deal about all the other plugins, to be honest.
No. Ozone's your mastering. Neutron's your like standard mixing. That's got EQ, compression, I think de-essing in there. RX.
I think that's the one I used. Yeah, that's the one I was messing with today. And I ended up turning everything off except for the de-essing. The de-essing was sounding really nice. So I actually left that on.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, but to answer your question earlier, I've got the Shep's Omni channel first.
Yep.
Sorry, I got Waves Tune on to fix my terrible singing.
Mm-hmm.
I got the Omni channel after that. And then I usually have either the Waves rider, like the vocal rider.
Oh yeah.
Or I'll end up just chucking a limiter on it. Sometimes both.
Yep.
I'll chuck a limiter on it, and then for effects, I'm almost always I don't know if we'll probably dive into this a bit later, but yeah, I use some reverb and delay on pretty much everything.
Do you use that?
But we'll dive into that a bit later, I reckon.
Do you use reverb and delay on the channel itself, or do you run it through a bus?
Always a bus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless I want to specifically process that reverb in that chain.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Which is rare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here we go. Iris 2 is a 6 sample based synth from Burke.
That's why it's like a gig.
Yeah.
I was wondering why that was so big.
Yeah.
Sick. Thanks, Berkey. You legend.
Yeah, I think you got a lot to play with there.
This. Do you have this?
I do not have this.
It's delicious.
You love it?
Oh my god. So if you want to slam something,
yeah,
this is the plugin that you want.
Oh, really?
It is unbelievably good. Oh yeah. It's pretty crazy. Actually, you know when you could get things like hot plugins.
Yeah.
That I won't admit to having.
Yeah. No one does.
That's right. But I ended up buying this compressor.
Yeah.
It's worth every cent, dude. If you want something, like if you want to slam something, especially on drums, this thing sounds phenomenal on drums.
So
and bass.
I'm guessing that's an 1176 rip-off, or not rip-off. Like it looks like it would be because it's got the same ratios that you could get with an 1176. So I
don't know exactly.
I'm guessing that's what it would be. Like it's got the fact that it's got all at the end there.
Yeah.
I reckon that's
it's for some brutality.
That's for some brutality.
It sounds so fucking good, dude. And that you have like a mix knob as well.
Hell yeah.
So you can do parallel stuff. Which is just so good.
It's so good.
So on drums it sounds amazing, and on bass it's amazing.
Hell yeah.
So it's like one of my favorite ones. My other favorite compressor will be the. Oops.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
The 4000, the classic.
That's it. Come on, man. Load, man.
Classic.
How good's Australian internet?
Yeah. This is Australia. Don't catch you loading up.
Oh, it's not special.
Damn, that's cheap.
It is pretty cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is probably one of my most used compressors. I use this when I'm mastering a lot, and I use this on drums a lot.
Yep.
And on my master bus as well. It's the main places I use it. And that's like, if there's any plugin to give you like that glue, cool. It's this one.
Interesting. You and I have very similar taste in what sounds we like, but we both use different plugins to get those sounds. Because I also use a lot of 1176 style compressors on vocals, but and I use a SSL type compressor, but I use the Slate versions of both of those.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. I'm going to move you over here on my screen so it looks like I'm looking at the crowd at least a little bit. Oh no, I've hidden you now.
Cool. Damn, son.
Damn, son.
I have one more compressor to go on about.
Yeah. Tell me.
Oh, I didn't write it right.
Oh, H-Comp.
Dude. What the?
What?
I know that you have it. What the fuck?
Maybe it's got a dash or something.
I'll just...
Waves H.
I don't know why that wasn't coming up. Yeah, maybe I didn't put like the dash in there or something. Yeah.
I used to use this all the time, and I haven't used it in a while, but I remember how good it is. Now, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say you use this on kick and toms. Maybe bass.
Interesting.
Tell me.
I definitely use it on drums.
Yeah.
I definitely use it on my room mics a lot.
Oh, really?
This plugin's really good at slamming. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's really good on my drums bus as well.
Yeah.
My drum bus. I also use this a lot on my stereo bus as well.
Do you find yourself using the punch knob a lot on like toms and shit, just to like, dude? If you want to like bring up the aggression of your toms, that punch knob, god damn.
Sometimes, but like most times, I'm like, oh, it's too much.
How do you feel about the analog knob on the H series?
Hey?
How do you feel about the analog knob on the H series?
I turn it off every time.
Every time. It's a fucking piece of shit.
It's fucking annoying.
It just adds noise.
It does add noise, which is like
super annoying.
Cool if you wanted to make some weird lo-fi stuff or whatever.
Yeah, but then you got
I find that like it just annoys the shit out of me.
Oh.
Because like I'm trying to make a clean mix, and then like you hit pause, and then you're hearing this hissing, and you're like, "What is that?" And then you go back in, and you find that like you've got analog on, on a compressor like this, and if you're slamming, it gets pretty audible.
Yeah.
But yeah. I always turn that off. I'm not a fan of that.
Trash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, mate? Do you use this?
I used to use this one quite a lot. And I've got it still. I just don't. I don't know. I just don't really use it that much. In all honesty, my use of, since I mostly do electronic hip hop music, my use of compression has gone down quite a lot because a lot of the samples and stuff that I use are already compressed. And like optimized to sound pretty good. So I find myself using compression quite a lot less than I used to when I was doing full band stuff. But and like when I do use it, it's usually just like the quickest thing. Like I'm just there to like take out a transient real quick. But for me, on drums, the API 2500.
Oh yeah, it's a good one.
That's probably my go-to on most drum stuff.
Like, I used to use that a lot, actually.
Solid compressor. Man, how is it so cheap? How is everything from Waves just so cheap? Like $300 down to $40. That's not even a sale. That's like, I don't know.
Exactly what Waves would want you to think.
Yeah, exactly. So something cool about the attack on this thing is really cool. The tone section down the bottom there, it just does stuff. I don't know what it's doing half the time. Like when you go to loud. Yeah,
when I think of this compressor, I think of it as being quite aggressive.
Yeah, aggressive drums like that all over. Going back to the Slate VMR section, I use a lot of their plugins for vocals because I run a series of the VMR. Depending on what vocal I'm doing, I'll use the FG Stress, which is the top left one up there. That's obviously a distressor emulator. It's got a really cool distortion section in it that just drives and sounds really cool. There's 3 different 1176 models there. That blue, white, and black one that are all in a row there. They're really cool. I use all 3 of them for different things. But for vocals, I normally go the vintage. Sounds pretty cool. And if you go down, there's one called the Monster. See if we can find it. Oh no. How is it not there? That's insane.
It should
be in there, yeah. Anyway, it's a version of the 1176 with all buttons in, and it is like what you were saying with that soft tube one. It is just a demolition unit. Like, it's so aggressive, and yeah, it's got that sound of all buttons in. And the cool thing with all of these Slate ones, here we go. It's the Monster Extreme Dynamics processor there.
There.
And that just emulates it, all buttons in, just absolute slammer. Great for parallel drum bus compression, shit like that. Just absolute destroyer. Really cool. There's another distressor emulator that I use. Trying to remember who it's by. UBK plugins, if you want to check them out. And it's called Sli-Fi. Go to just Sli-Fi by UBK. Yes. Kush is the more I don't know, they're both the same company, but they use slightly different things. That one, the Deflector.
Okay.
Pretty cheap. I mean, it's $99 American, but that's a really cool plugin. It's got the sound of a distressor, but they've kind of taken it overboard a little bit. So it's really good for adding like saturation and just a little bit of extra vibe in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool plugin. I recommend that one for a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah. I just thought of one that's not really a compressor. But the Waves F6.
Oh yeah. Multi-band compressor.
They call it a dynamic EQ.
Yeah.
I use this on so much. So I use this in a really interesting way. It's really cool for getting like really quick attack out of like toms and stuff.
Oh, okay.
So what you can do, is you can make like your top end on your tom, like the attack really fast and the release really fast. But like the actual tone of the drum will be like all down lower.
So it doesn't get affected at all.
So on the attack of the hit, like you've got that top end, but then the top end dips off like straight away.
Yeah.
After that initial click has happened. And that way that top end isn't like taking up any of your space after that.
That's cool.
That's like a really famous technique.
So use it to expand that section or to compress that section, like get rid of it.
It's just like if you want a bit more extra click in your tom,
okay.
but you don't want to raise the top end of your floor tom.
So you use it to expand, like to jump up every time that hits, but not to move the EQ up. That's really cool. Because you could also use it to compress it away if you wanted to, I guess.
Correct.
That's sick.
I use it a lot, like to expand my room mics as well.
Yep.
So whenever I love roomy snares. Like when a snare hits, I'll like make around 500 hertz kick up.
Oh yeah.
On the room mics every time. But where I use this most of all is I have what I like to call an instrument bus, which is everything except for drums and vocals.
Yeah.
Is going to this bus. And I have 3 of these. Is it usually 3? Yeah, it's usually 3 of these on that channel strip.
Shit.
So the first one, I have a kick drum, and you can sidechain in like individual bands to the side to the whatever you want. Sorry, you can only have one source, but like I'll do kick drum for example, and then I'll choose like my low end to suck out on everything, including bass.
Yep.
I'll end up doing that here, and then like I'll look for like that kind of like 4 to 5K click where the kick sits, and then I'll end up selecting like the mid range, and then I'll suck that out of like everything. So when the kick happens, it's just right there. It's like slamming.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll end up doing that stereo, so it like sucks a bit of everything, so it makes the kick sound actually like huge when that starts happening, when you start pulling that down. And I do the exact same thing with my snare as well.
Like suck out the 200-ish range.
Yeah. Oh, but about 500 is like what my favorite spot.
Yep.
For snare. Yeah, and it'll just duck down. Yeah, and then like a bit higher around the 5-6K for the snap of the snare.
Interesting.
So yeah, I use those two to kind of get the drums punching.
Yeah.
I don't really get the drums punching on the drum bus, so to speak. As they kind of punch within the mix. By kind of doing that.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and sometimes it depends on how many layers are in the track, but then the third one will be for vocals. So then I'll just like have like a big kind of one sweep around the 1 to 5K area.
Yeah.
Depends where the vocals are sitting, but yeah, I won't usually do it that aggressively. Maybe only like 2 or 3 dB. But whenever the vocals come in, yeah, it just sucks out a bit of the whatever's happening in the center.
Yeah.
Because everything kind of happens, or everything kind of needs its place in my head. So if the guitar's playing a little lick, and then the vocals come in, and then the guitar will come back in and do something, and everything's kind of has its part, you know?
Yeah.
And when the vocals are super important, and that's how I achieve a lot of that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so I use the F6 for like a big part of my sound.
I feel like that's one of the most powerful plugins that Waves has, but they don't really, like, it's $100 standard. Not really, they don't really plug it that hard, and they don't treat it like a high-end plugin, but it's really powerful. Like, I would say it's more powerful than C6 is, but they charge so much more for C6.
I use this way more than that.
Yeah, me too. As soon as this came out, I stopped using C6 as much. But, like, I wonder why. Like, is the processing better on C6? That's... You know when something costs more and you're just like, that's got to be better? Like, especially when it's by the same company. Like...
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just got a name for itself.
Yeah.
Maybe they're just living off that? I don't know. I mean, they are kind of two different things. This isn't really a compressor.
It is, though. It compresses. Like, sound comes in and it compresses. It's like a multi-band compressor.
Well, a compressor, in my eyes, like, it squashes things in, or it cuts audio out. This doesn't do that.
Yeah.
You kind of do whatever you want with this. I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess, like, in a way, I just think, like, if you were to get side by side and do the same things on both, you would find it would sound different.
Yeah. I'm guessing
that they just react differently.
Yeah, and the algorithms they have made for each of them would be quite different. On the, what you were talking about with the kick and the kick and the snare sucking out different stuff. I like think that's an awesome way of doing it. And back in my day when I was doing more band stuff, I would do a very similar thing, but I would just have the kick sucking out from the bass guitar, and then have the snare sucking out from the guitars themselves.
Yeah.
So I guess I had a bit of a more, I don't know, like roundabout way of doing it, but I like how you can now do it within one plugin, and affect them all without having to run compressor upon compressor upon compressor to get the same effect.
Yeah, hell yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah, I guess we're kind of going for similar effects.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of my like little, I wouldn't call it a secret, but that's like one of my signature things that I'm always doing.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. What else in compressors? I could talk about compressors all day.
Oh my god, there's so many good compressors out there.
Should we streamline it to something else?
Well, actually, one thing that I was thinking about, because we kind of mentioned it a couple of times, but what's like your master bus? Like, do you master in like, or do you like mix bus process during your mix? Like, do you have a bunch of stuff on your master bus while you're mixing, or do you do all of that in
I
the
try
master?
not to.
You don't like doing that?
I try not to.
Okay.
No.
Well, then when
sometimes like towards the end, like if I've finished my mix, I'm like, yep, it's time to just put a bit of polish onto it.
Yeah.
Then I might. Depends. If I'm mastering it, I won't worry about it because I know that what I'll do in the master anyway. I'll just do it there.
Yeah.
But if I'm sending it off to mastering, I'll make sure that it's as close as I want it to be.
Yeah. What about do you ever master within your mix session? Like run master?
Only if it's a demo.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
only if it's a demo.
Towards the end of my mixing days, I just started doing the majority of my mastering in my session because I was like, I know I'm going to put these same plugins in a different session anyway, so I may as well do them here. But these days I always run a bunch of plugins on my mix bus, just for overall usage, especially because now that I'm doing more beat stuff, it makes a little bit more sense. But what do you have on your on a standard master bus? Like, what plugins are you using
when I'm mastering?
Yeah. Not in too much detail, always, but like, what's your standard set?
Yeah. I'll always have a reference track.
Yep.
Which goes directly to my stereo bus.
Yep.
Sorry. So I've got a reference track that goes directly to my master bus. Then I have my track that I'm mastering, which goes to just an extra bus.
Yeah.
So I've got extra room to play with plugins and stuff. And then that goes to my master bus. And that's just so that I can A and B really fast. And I can bypass, I can affect all of my I can kind of turn off my processing and do A and Bs with the reference without having any processing on the reference and stuff.
Yep.
But I'll start off with EQ.
Yep.
Always start off with EQ.
What EQ?
Poking out of it, always the Q2.
Yep.
And then I actually tend to saturate the whole mix a bit. Mm-hmm. So I'll usually use the Sheps omnichannel for that.
Oh, cool.
And I'll use that for a bit of saturation, and that's pretty much all I use with the Sheps. Sometimes I'll use the high pass on the Sheps just to cut off anything below like the 40 hertz range.
Yep.
And then after that, I'll probably end up using like an SSL comp or maybe the H comp to give it a bit of flavor.
Oh yeah.
And then depending on how wide I want the mix to be, I'll end up using one of two plugins. It'll either be the S1 Imager.
Yep.
By Waves, which is a widening
classic.
Tool, or Vitamin.
Yeah.
By Waves, which is like it's a widener, but you can do it in different bandwidths.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. So I always like tighten and center my low end, and then I'll widen whatever I need to in the top end or mid range.
Did you ever find that Vitamin, like, I don't know, when I used to use Vitamin a bit, it would always do something like kind of weird, and I had to be really careful with how much of any of it I put in because it would like undo a lot of my mixing, I found. Because it was always like adding a little bit of saturation, and I don't know, it did some stuff. Like I never quite understood the amount that it did, but I always knew that I had to be a bit careful with it.
So I never used it for EQ, and people like see how it's got the faders.
Yeah.
I never used those. I always have them sitting at 0. Yeah. And I only use these bottom knobs here for widening the different bands, and then I can choose specifically where I want those bands to be.
Yeah.
But like I will only ever use it for widening purposes.
Okay.
Only, just because I found the EQ was weird.
Well, it
reacted quite strange.
Because they're not. It's not an actual. It's not an EQ. What it is it's a harmonic booster.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know. I didn't like the sound of it.
Yeah. It's. Yeah. I don't.
Sounded weird to me.
It is a bit whack. That's one of those plugins I never really got along with that well.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, I use that for widening only.
Yeah.
Which works really well for that purpose.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can use it for a harmonizer if you want. But
yeah,
I didn't really dig it. And then I just finished my mixes with the it's either the L1, and I'll probably like sometimes I'll just use it in parallel with itself.
Oh yeah.
So I'll use two of them. So maybe I'll have one. It depends. It depends on how loud I need it to be. If it's already like at a good volume, like if it was mixed really well, I only use one.
And if you got to use two, then you slam one and then have the other one kind of bringing a bit more of the peaks in.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Pretty much.
I haven't done much parallel limiting on a master bus. That's pretty cool.
I use limiters heaps.
Yeah.
I use it a lot on drums and I use it a lot on vocals.
Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes bass as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, especially this limiter in particular. I love.
Classic.
I use it all the time. It's my go-to limiter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's sick.
How about you, mate? Give us a lowdown on your master bus.
All right. So I've got the Iosis, I think it's called Iosis Air EQ, and that's part of the Slate bundle, but it is its own company. Yeah, that's the one. And it's just a really nice multi-band EQ that I don't know, it sounds great. And it's got these really cool knobs at the top and the bottom. The bottom's called Earth and the top's called Air. And it just pushing either one of those up just gives you a nice boost in top or low end. That just sounds great. I don't know what they're doing with it, but it just sounds sick. So that's that's what I use for my master bus EQ. From there, I go, if you scroll down, I go to the what's it called? So that virtual bus compressors section there. There's three in that, and I use the top one there, which is called the FG Grey, and that is the SSL bus compressor style unit.
Yeah.
Really cool. Sounds awesome. Great glue. I love that thing. Then from there, I'll go into my T-Rax by IK Multimedia, which is, if you search IK Multimedia T-Rax, it's T-Rax, like R-A... R-A-C-K-S. Yeah, that's the one. And they make... I don't really dig most of their plugins. Like they've got some cool stuff, but like I've got multiples of most of their shit. But
I know that you froth this. It's on like every one of your
the Clipper, man.
masters.
So yeah, instead of running a limiter, I use a Clipper. Actually, this is just for beats. If I'm doing a proper band, like a proper mix of a full thing, I will usually use both a Clipper and a limiter. It's that one on the right there. Although that's a newer version than what I've got. I need to update mine.
Yeah, it is.
It's probably just the same thing with a different skin. But yeah, so I run a Clipper instead of a limiter on my beats, and that is because I'm not slamming my beats as hard as I would a normal mix. I'm just kind of like getting them up there. But the Clipper gives it saturates what goes over the top, which is a cool sound, and you can end up getting things sounding a little bit more aggressive, but you can't take it too far, otherwise it just like straight up distorts your signal, which is not ideal. But that's what I use as the finalizer, and then I have a version of Pro Q2, which is actually just there to act as a spectrum analyzer so I can see what's going on.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So that's
there's one more thing I always do in a master as well, which is weird. But I always put the Q2 on there as well I usually put two on there. One as a frequency analyzer and another one to bypass all of the highs so I can just hear what's happening in the low end.
Oh yeah. That's cool.
I always do that in every master.
Yeah, just so you can hear what's going on in the subby section.
I just have to hear exactly, especially if I'm referencing a song to the song I'm mastering. I can hear exactly what's happening in the low end on that track and then the low end on the track I'm mastering.
You know what I used to use for that?
I always do that shit.
When I was using Pro Tools, I had the Air, not Air, what was it? Yeah, it was Air. Air, the company, how they had all their stuff? There was the Air Kill EQ, and it would split you could straight up just kill entire sections of frequencies and it would split it up into 3 to highs, mids, and lows. I'm pretty sure that's how it was. And you could kill whatever sets of frequencies, and I always put that on there, and I would use that to, in the same way that you're talking about, I would kill the mids and the highs and be able to check the lows, and then I would do the same, kill the lows and just check the sizzly highs, and then kill the highs and the lows and check what it would sound like if it was going through an NS10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Yeah. I find checking single sets of frequencies is a really cool way of figuring out what's going on without all the other shit in your ear getting in the way. But yeah,
hell yeah,
that's that I've got that whole bundle from them, the mastering bundle, and they're great plugins, but I just don't really see I've got so much stuff that I just don't really use that much.
Yeah.
It just ends up all being other plugins, mostly Slate. I pay so much for Slate that I've got to justify it.
Yeah. All right. What else? What else is there?
What else is there? Saturators?
We haven't dived?
Dove?
Divin?
Dived?
Dove?
Dove?
Dimmed?
Into?
Plowed? Into saturation and effects.
Saturation and effects. All right, should we start with saturation?
Bart. Hello, welcome, Bart.
Oh,
Waves make a similar plugin to kill called Vitamin.
We were talking about Vitamin before.
We're literally just talking about Vitamin. Both great. You can also change the stereo.
Oh man, he's missed the whole section.
He's missed the whole bit. Yeah, we were just talking about Vitamin. Yeah, amazing plugin.
Yeah.
To kind of just have a recap, neither of us really use it for the harmonic side of it. We use it just for exactly what you're talking about, which is just widening in each kind of bandwidth.
Yeah.
Which is super cool. That's all I really use it for.
Super cool.
What was I going to go to?
Saturators.
Oh, yeah. I don't have that many. I wish I had more.
Oh.
But let's start with the ones that I do know.
Yep.
Which is the classic soft tube. Saturation. My typing is out of control.
That's fine. It's fine.
This is the one.
That's the one.
So I use this a lot.
That was free, wasn't it?
Yeah. Best free plugin ever.
Yeah.
I use this a lot on bass.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. I don't really use it on much else. I find it's really nice on bass.
Yeah.
And sometimes distorting rooms and stuff like that. It's really cool.
Just to kind of take the limiting to the next level.
Yeah, limiting?
Like as if you're slamming it so hard that it's actually distorting.
Oh yeah. I just find when you slam, absolutely give it to it, it doesn't sound pleasant.
Oh
it
really?
Sounds a bit weird.
So that doesn't distort very well, that one?
No. But when it's on it depends on what setting you've got it on, but like down like around this kind of area, like maybe your 20% mark and maybe a little bit less.
Yeah.
On bass, it sounds so sick.
Yeah. Because a lot of these plugins, there's a fine line between saturators and straight up distorters. And I guess a lot of these can be used for both. And yeah, like different ones sound good for different things. But so that's your favorite for bass and a bit of drum room stuff. Have you got any others that you get into?
No, I always go back to this guy.
Oh, that's your go-to for the saturation.
That's my go-to for saturation. Yeah, I love it.
Hell yeah.
So good. I froth it. It just seems like, yeah, it always kind of has, with these three modes, I tend to always achieve whatever I'm after. Unless it's something crazy, like if I'm wanting something like over the top, then maybe I won't get enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's usually, I'm always finding that this does the job for me pretty much exactly how I want it to.
Yeah.
I love this plugin.
Yeah, she's solid.
Yeah. I would really like to try the FabFilter Satin.
Oh, yeah, me too.
But I just, can't
expensive.
justify buying it right now, but yeah. Yeah, how about you, mate? What are you using for saturation?
Oh, where do we get started? Okay, so I use a lot of saturators for different things, because I'm always looking for like filthy dark sounds. The obvious one is going to be Decapitator, by Sound Toys, which is straight up. Does Sheps make decent coffee though? I don't know. Yeah, Sound Toys Decapitator. This thing it's more of a distortion unit than it is a saturator. I mean, it saturates to the point of distortion, which is what's so cool about it. It's got high cut, low cut, tone, and a mix knob on there, so you can really like take it anywhere really. And that on bass, and like I use it for 808s, bass, some kick drums. I use it for so many things: kicks, snares, bass, vocals. There's not really much that gets away from me on the Decapitator. Just sounds so good on everything.
That I do like.
Yeah,
I don't own it, but I want it.
You should get it. If the
it's only $50.
It is only $50, and I got the whole bundle for $250 of Sound Toys stuff, and I have to say it is probably one of the best bundles I've ever bought.
Interesting.
Straight up.
I wonder if they've got any specials going on.
Yeah. I mean, everything seems.
Next rack.
See, that's got most of the stuff on it. Or look, $300. I guess that's still kind of expensive. I think I paid 200.
It's almost 400 Australian.
Yeah, true. Actually, it's over 400. It's 450 Australian.
Yeah, nah.
It's a bit much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Another saturation.
So that one I use actually Little Altar Boy, which is also Sound Toys. It's a pitch one, but the drive knob on that is actually really cool. The only problem with it is that plugin uses so much processing and pushes your and like kind of fucks with your latency. It's not really worth using that because it kind of fucks with it a little bit. But those two are really cool. The Waves NFS, I think it's NFS channel strip, or I forgot what it's called. I think it's called the NFS.
NFT?
Might be NFT. NLS. Sorry, it's NLS.
NLS.
Yeah. That is a really cool saturator. It does go to the distortion level a little bit, but it's not like hella distortion. It's just like a little bit of grit. The really cool thing about that one is it's got 3 different types of channels. I can't remember what they are. They're all supposed to be classic, desk channels or whatever. But they're you can really hear it widen the channels as if it's running the stereo channel through two separate things that aren't quite synced up. So if you've got like a mono channel and you want to kind of give it a bit of width and vibe to it, you can chuck it through that, and it sounds pretty cool, and
nice.
Gives it a little bit of width. It's also got this cool mic section there, which I think that just gives it the idea that it's running through a microphone as well. Not 100% sure, but that fucks with the sound quite a lot.
I'm pretty sure the 3 settings, I remember reading up about this plugin, and I'm pretty sure those 3 settings are different, 3 kinds of different consoles. So I think Spike is like, that's like your SSL, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I can't remember what mic is. I think Nevo is like a Neve console.
Yeah. Mic is the best for saturating low end. That's all I've got to say.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're really cool. Like they're solid. It's got a lot of flavor to it. That's probably my favorite saturator for just adding flavor to a sound without going too distorted. Okay. Sorry. Are both of you from Australia? Yes, we are. Thank you, Zeta09. We are very Australian.
Yes, we're very Australian.
The Slate VMR bundle also has a bunch of tube saturators and preamp saturators, which are really cool that I use. They're cool. Native Instruments has a couple of... It's got one called the Driver, which is a... Actually, is it the Driver that I'm thinking of?
The Driver I thought was on one knob, wasn't it? No? Maybe it's also possible that there's 2.
No, I think it's... I can't remember. There's one on there.
It's looking for an actual driver.
I can't remember what it's called, but there's one from Native Instruments that's got a bit of grit to it. Yeah, I can't remember what it's called.
Oh, that's the one. For free.
Sorry, the Supercharger. It's a compressor. That one there.
That one there.
Yeah, in the effects bundle there. That Supercharger there. It's like a hard compressor, but it's also got a bit of saturation in there. It's really good for like just taking stuff to the next level.
Hell yeah.
Aggression wise. Isotope Trash awesome. Is like, that's my distortion unit.
I can't wait to try and use that.
Oh, so good.
I just got it, so I'm so excited to use it.
Love it.
Haven't had a chance just yet. Still just finishing my next single.
Tell us more about that.
Well, it's just another summer tune for not summer here.
Yeah, another summer tune to keep you warm in winter.
That's right.
Actually, there you go. There's a slogan for you. Summer sounds to keep you warm in winter. It uses alliteration. Little sip. I'm trying to think of what else I've got.
NoisySauce just dropping the goods.
I'm looking through my plugin bundles. So there's so much. Kilohertz. Oh my god! I didn't even know how I got Kilohertz. I think it was free. So Kilohertz, they make this like a whole bunch of like different effects plugins, but they've got this one unit that kind of puts them all together. It's called Multipass, and what it ends up doing is the Multipass plugin itself is a unit that has preamp, and then it's got all your all your different bands, and then it's got your output as well, and you can add any of their plugins, of which there's like 20, I think, and you can put them all anywhere in that like section that you want. So if like KILO hearts, one word. Yeah, one word. Yeah, kilo hearts. And I can't even remember how I got this. I think it came free with the Slate bundle as well. So it's not that. It's there. Oh my god! Yeah, that one. That
Yeah, it's cool.
That ecosystem thing. Yeah. So in all of those so all those ones down below there that you can see, if you go down, they're all the units that you can use. And so there's like choruses and you want some cookies? Yeah.
You can't just click no. I love it.
Beautiful. Yeah, there's like
sick, man.
Yeah, and like saturators and like phase distortion. Like there's so many units, and you can literally put them anywhere on like within the that multipass unit, and it's really cool. There's a preset on there that I got that's called, I think it's called like 808 fattener or 808 beef or something like that, and I put it on all my 808s, and it just makes them sound so good. So
that's so sick.
There's a little.
That's actually really versatile, isn't it?
It's huge. It's huge. Yeah, actually, it did come free with the Slate bundle. That's the cool thing about Slate is they keep joining up with all these other companies, and then you just keep getting shit for free. So you just get downloads every so often, which is really cool.
Shit, yeah.
Hells yeah.
What about this is kind of staying on the saturation train, but what do you use for tape saturation?
I mean Slate. They've got a they've got their own virtual tape.
This one?
Yeah, this one.
Virtual tape machines.
Yeah, solid. Sounds fucking awesome. I've actually started saturating mixes a lot less than I used to.
Yeah.
I used to use
it's an acquired taste. The tape machine ones, I reckon.
Yeah, I used to use it all the time on my mix buses and like on masters and stuff, but like over time I felt that I don't know, I felt like they kept fucking with what I was doing, but I still use it on like vocal buses and shit like that, and on like bass guitar, although it's quite processor heavy.
They are, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of shit going on there. So if these if you look down here, the New York, the Hollywood, and there should be another one there. If you keep going down, it might be this one over here, the London. They're all tube saturation units that are pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Really nice.
Cool. I've only really got one tape saturator. There's one that's renowned that I wanted to get. I've forgotten the name of it now.
Is it the Kramer one?
That's the one that I use.
Oh, you use the Waves Kramer tape.
Oop.
Is the one you're thinking of another Waves one, or?
No, it's one that I never really heard of. I'll dive in and find it. This is the one that I use, and I'm like, it's okay. Like it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's rare that I actually use it though. For some tracks, it really suits it, but
yeah,
most of the time, I'm just like, this doesn't sound right to me.
Oh, I've got another one for the saturation discussion.
Oh yeah.
Isotope Vinyl.
Okay.
Which is a free plugin that you should get. That everyone should get. It's super cool.
Ooh. Where is it?
I don't know.
Here.
There you go. Free audio plugins, Isotope Vinyl. So it's a vinyl emulator, and it's really cool for if you check that the wear knob, the second one, sorry, the wear slider, um, is just solid for like that kind of gives it the sound of getting rid of the top end and like a vinyl that's just been worn out. It has a little bit of like distortion and saturation in there as well, which is kind of cool. And the year, if you look at the knobs down the bottom there, if you turn the year down, it kind of takes away the low end a lot, like emulating like the old vinyls that couldn't reproduce much low end. So between the wear knob and the year knob, you kind of suck in the high and low frequencies, but with a little bit of saturation and coolness to it. There's mechanical noise, electrical noise, dust, and scratch, which are all just noises, which I don't like any of that because it sits on top of your mix unless you like bounce the track down into another channel. I don't like having that shit just running over my whole mix, so I usually don't use them. But also the warp depth is really cool because what that does is it like brings your like it kind of like phases it up and down, so it sounds like the like a vinyl that's warped. It kind of gets it all pitchy and whack. Cool. Yeah, that's a really cool.
I guess you could really achieve that kind of vintage-ish vinyl-y sound without having to actually go through the process of it.
Yeah, I use this a lot.
It's a pretty cool plugin.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Be cool on synths and stuff, wouldn't it?
Yep. Synths, if you want like lo-fi vocals, I use it like when I'm trying to get like all right, I'll tell you where I use this a lot. When I want to get the sound of that I've got a sample that I'm flipping, but I don't have that sample, I'm just making it. I'll like record piano, bass, drums, record everything, and then I'll put this on the bus for that and bounce it into a loop, and then I'll cut that loop up and it gets that sound that you've like sampled it from a record.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a really cool sound. And also that like really wobbly synth, like where it kind of goes in and out of tune. The warp depth for that is really cool.
Yeah, shit, yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. I don't know if you've seen this, but FabFilter just released the Saturn 2.
Oh, no shit.
So that's a thing.
That is a thing.
How much?
Too much.
Yeah. They need your soul.
Actually, it's quite cheap
no bundle
compared to the
154.
Yeah. Still $230.
It's still a lot for a plugin.
Yeah.
All that shit's so nice.
Yeah. I'd love it all. The reverb looks so good.
Yeah. Speaking of which, reverbs.
Oh, yeah, okay. All right, reverbs. My go-to, my favorite reverb right now is the Waves Abbey Road Plates reverb. Solid reverb. So it's reverb plates. This is I can't speak highly enough of this plugin. I put it on so much stuff and it is just beautiful. My favorite thing about a reverb is when you put it on and you don't have to do much to it and it sounds fucking awesome. And that is why I love this one. Like, you put this on and pull down the dry wet to where it should be, and it usually sounds pretty close to where you want it. If you want, like, this is a reverb that you put on when you want it to sound like it's got reverb on it. If you know what definitely. I mean. Like, it's not like an ambience or anything like that. It's like a full-on reverb.
That's cool. I've been keeping my eye on this one, actually. I've been eyeing that off for a while. Been wanting
41
to
buckaroo.
experiment with it.
Pretty cheap.
But I'll tell you what I do have.
Oh, you got the H verb.
And this thing is freaking unreal.
I've had my eye on that as well. That's a cool one.
I froth this. It's one of my favorite reverbs. I use this a lot. I use Chroma Verb a lot.
Chroma Verb is amazing.
Yeah, that's like a stock reverb that comes in Logic.
Yeah. Didn't I do a video on that?
You did.
Why I think Chrome Verb's the ultimate for drums.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chrome Verb's amazing. Like, it's such a good reverb. It's so versatile. It's so manipulatable. Anyway. Yeah.
Shit, yeah.
Solid.
I use this a lot. Sometimes I use the is it the R verb?
Oh yeah. R verb, that's a pretty pretty stock one. There's not that much to it. You know what's really, speaking of R series, the REQ is really cool.
Yeah.
The Renaissance EQ. I don't know what it is about it, but that is a great sounding EQ.
Fucked it.
He's cooked it. It doesn't look very good.
Anyway,
which is weird for me because I'm usually a sucker for a good looking plugin. I think it's called the Renaissance EQ. Which I don't know how to spell.
It listed everything except for the
EQ.
The reverb.
There it is.
Sorry. Yeah.
Well, there's your reverb.
Man, I pretty much just use the H stuff. I use
the
H delay and the H reverb on fucking everything, man.
Yeah.
I love those two plugins so much.
Oh, H delay. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Let's talk about that for a bit.
And I always, with my delay, man, I almost never use just delay on a channel. Unless it's like specific for like a guitar thing.
Yeah.
Or something like that. I'm always like saturating my my delays with reverb.
Yeah.
To smooth them out. I have to. Every single time.
Yeah, hell yeah.
But the H delay. I pretty much use no other delay. I use that one, like hits the spot every single time.
Yeah, okay. I use H delay, I would say 90% of the time as my delay. The only times I really change it up is when I need something more specific. Echo Boy from Sound Toys is pretty cool because it's got a saturator built in. What else do I use? Delay Designer from Logic is really cool if you want to like do something specific because you can.
Oh yeah, I've used that one before.
Yeah. What else? Saw from JST plugins, Joey Sturgis Tones. It's the guy from Nail the Mix. He made his own plugin company, and he's got this one called Saw, which is a tape delay, and that's really cool. It's got like a whole bunch of like modulation and like pitches it around and all that kind of stuff. I really like that one. More on the reverbs. Liquid Sonics. I use their plate reverb as well quite a bit. That's really versatile. What else? That is another one that comes in the Slate bundle. And actually I use their another one of their delays. Yeah, the lustrous plates there. I use that one.
Oh yeah.
And there's another one that they've got. which is I can't remember what it's called. Actually, I use a bit of the Liquid Sonic stuff. A lot of their stuff comes with the Slate bundle. I'm trying to think what else. There's a little plate that comes with sound toys, and I really like that because it's one knob.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I do enjoy things that are really simple. One knob. Yeah, the little plate. That's the one.
This is one reverb that I got for free, actually. Let me just find the name of it.
One of the things I find, while you're setting that, I'll talk about this. One things I look for in any plugin is simplicity. If you have to open up that plugin and spend 5 minutes trying to figure out how that thing works, then that is a shit plugin, in my opinion. I like stuff that makes everything a lot quicker and a lot easier. The Arturia Rev plate.
Yeah, this thing's pretty cool too.
That's the
I feel
free
like
one.
those really smooth kind of plates. It's pretty warm.
Hell yeah.
Then this one's pretty cool. And they had it for free for a little bit there. So that's when I grabbed it.
Nice.
Yeah, but it's actually really cool.
I use a lot
Can't
of
say
Arturia.
so much for the website.
Yeah. Could be a bit of buffering trying to figure out what's going on with our sending.
I'm just going to go to an image. Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Oh yeah. It's a nice look.
Yeah, it's sick.
Anyone play?
Yeah, really cool.
Has anyone played with Tornado? It's from Sugar Bytes. Multi Effects Funtime Madness. I've not played with that. Does sound like fun though. Tornado.
Tornado by Sugar what?
Sugar Bytes would be Bytes. Tornado, the ultimate audio mangler. That sounds like fun. I want to get some of that.
Shit, yeah.
Hell
Has anyone
yeah.
else got some recommendations for us to look at?
Yeah,
I'd love to look at.
Bring it up. We don't want to just be talking about what we do. We want to see what.
I don't even think we're gonna have time to talk about MIDI instruments.
No way.
No way. Yeah.
That'll be a whole other episode.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I could talk about MIDI instruments even more.
Oh my god. There's so much to talk about.
So this is it here, I imagine.
Yeah,
this looks really fun.
That does look pretty cool. I mean, we haven't even got onto guitar amp models and stuff like that either.
I reckon everything instrument related we should do another episode on.
Yeah, definitely. Have you got any pitch shifting plugins that you dig?
I use the it depends what kind of thing you want. If you're after just like auto tune,
oh yeah,
then I use like Waves Real Tune or whatever it's called.
Yeah, I'm on the same one.
Not the shit light tune or whatever the fuck it's called. They're real time.
Oh no, the one that's like, it's like got the pink letters on it. It's just like the single unit. Yeah, I like that one too. I reckon that's got to be the best value for money.
Absolutely, because this plugin, I had Atari, was it Atari's
Atari
Auto-Tune?
Antares? I don't know. Atari?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, that's
which
sick.
Worked amazingly, but it's also incredibly expensive.
Yeah,
I find this one works almost just as well, and it's so much cheaper. So Waves kind of undercut them really well with this plugin.
Very similar style as well.
Yeah, I use this a lot.
Yeah.
So sick.
I use that for all
It's really good for subtle auto-tune.
Yeah.
So if you want it to sound natural, it sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
But also when you want that T-Pain, it doesn't let you down. It sounds sick.
Oh, that's cool. He's talking about that the tornado one. Apparently, if you hit the dice button at the top, where is that? Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
It randomizes it all. That's
Oh,
cool.
does it?
Yeah, so you just get like a messed up sound, and I love stuff like that, where you just like
Reverse beat.
That's sick. Yeah, cool stuff.
That's really cool, Rick.
How much is
Crazy
that?
warp, man.
$120.
Yeah.
I'll think about it.
I'll think also think.
So much stuff to buy. This is the problem about talking about plugins, because we just want to fucking buy everything.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It looks pretty versatile, this plugin, actually.
Yeah. It's got a bit going on.
I don't know if you'll be able to hear this. I don't know if I've shared my sound. I don't think I have.
We'll check all that stuff out.
It doesn't matter.
Later.
Yeah. That's cool. Is there anything else, you guys?
So pitch shifting.
Pitch shifting.
Yes. Not just tuning, but
I use the Logic format thing quite a bit.
Oh yeah, I haven't played with that.
Voiced format.
I use the little altar boy.
Pretty cool.
It's probably quite similar actually. Yeah. The Sound Toys little altar boy, which we were looking at before.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that's a pretty solid pitch shifter. It's got formant and pitch, and works quite well. Gets you those big boomy hip hop vocals that everybody loves.
Yeah, I pretty much just use that Logic.
I should probably try the Logic one a little bit more. It might be a bit more processor friendly. Flex still rates Melodyne over AT and others for pitch correction. I think Melodyne is awesome if you want it to sound natural, but not as good if you want it to be more accurate. My favorite for vocal, like for straight, like if I was mixing a vocal track and had to get it sounding like top notch, I would use the Logic inbuilt one where you actually go in and draw it in. That is amazing. Not their auto tune plugin, that shit, but the where you actually draw it in. It's like their version of Melodyne. It is.
Yeah, you're talking about Flex Tune.
Yeah, Flex Tune. That's the one.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So accurate and can be pretty transparent most of the time. I used to work at a studio where we just recorded vocalists every day, and I had to tune them and like pump out a song every hour, pretty much, like record, mix, and pump out a song. And I would use that to get it sounding decent, and worked quite well. Oh, so man, I've never used this. I should definitely check
try it out.
Yeah.
I use this whenever you want that kind of weird vocal effect. This one, really cool for that, and it's free.
I've never seen it.
Logic.
Yeah, that's cool.
Definitely going to. Yeah, it's just in pitch, I think.
Yeah.
In your plugins folder, yeah. Yeah, so give that a crack, dude.
Yeah, I will. Because I'm always fucking around with stuff like that things that make it like mess up the sound a little bit.
Yeah.
Actually, here's plugins being used for things they shouldn't be used for. I put Little Altar Boy on hi-hats, of all things.
Oh, yeah.
And bumped up the formant, not the pitch, but just the formant, and it spread out the stereo image of the hi-hats while still maintaining the sound of them quite well. That was a really cool little idea. So I mean, I guess you could do the same thing with that Logic one, but yeah, bumping up the formant on the hi-hat using that, and it just messes it up a bit. That's a cool little trick.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah. Because sometimes I like my hi-hats being quite wide and wacky.
Yeah. I was messing around with the Logic sampler the other day.
Oh,
which is really,
dude.
really, really cool.
Man, I was using it today actually.
I made a synthesizer out of my vocals, and then ran that through Guitar Rig,
Nice.
and it just sounded crazy, man. I'll have to show you. Like, I'll have to send you a file of. It just
Dude,
sounds nuts. It sounds like a full on pad synth.
the thing about that sampler is how quick it is to use for just creating a sound. Like, what today I wanted, I was doing a bit of a Travis Scott type like trappy thing that just has like noises throughout it, and so I wanted kind of like weird humanish noises in in the actual drum beat itself, like kind of sitting around it, like little breaths and shit. And I went into the sampler and I just like had the microphone, here, and you open up the sampler, hit record. I just went breath sample, hit stop. Suddenly I've got it all over my keyboard, found the note that sounded best with it, played it in as its own instrument, went to the next track, did the same thing with a different noise, and in like 5 minutes I had an entire percussion track of completely vocal done samples that sounded really unique and cool. I think that was like,
that's awesome.
That's got to be one of the best updates to Logic that I've seen.
Yeah, definitely.
So cool.
That sampler, I'm going to use the shit out of that.
So cool.
Yeah, so cool. Because you can get your own sound happening.
Yeah.
With your own like tonality of your vocal or whatever it might be. You can just make instruments and it's going to sound completely different to
anything.
Yeah, exactly. Which is why it's so cool. Yeah,
that's cool. Modulation. Let's talk modulation.
Modulation.
Do you use much modulation?
See what's in my. Hey.
Do you use much modulation?
I think so.
Like choruses.
I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I'm just gonna quickly look at my folder of. Oh yeah. Yeah, I do.
What do you use?
Mainly choruses.
I
don't really use anything special.
Yeah.
I just use the Logic standard chorus.
It's a great chorus.
Either that or I'll use Guitar Rig and use like a chorus pedal.
Yeah.
I love using Guitar Rig on whatever instrument. I'll throw it on vocals. I'll throw it on piano. I did that today, actually. I threw it on an acoustic piano to make it sound more like a guitar, but it just gives a different tonality in this one particular part of my track.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll froth that shit. But yeah, chorus is like one of my favorite modulation techniques. Tremolo is really cool too, but I don't tend to use tremolo too much.
Yeah.
It's more chorus. I love using chorus, especially on pianos and synths and stuff.
Yeah, I use quite a bit of chorus. I guess the same idea. I use it on hi-hats quite a lot as well to kind of like give them a bit of movement. Centaurus from D16 group is probably my favorite chorus. That's got so much to it. Like you can do like I can't even talk about how cool that plugin is. That is D16 group. I've got two of their plugins right now. One of them's the Centaurus, and I can't remember what the other one's called, but they're both solid plugins for adding any kind of modulation. Most of my modulation plugins are sound toys. They're killer. They've got panners, they've got tremolos that are just really unique and add their own vibe to it. They've got this pitch, it's like, I think it's called a micro shifter, which does don't even know what it does. They got like a phaser in there. They've got one of the best ones is their what's it called? The Filter Freak, which is like a modulating high, low, or any other type of filter, which is really cool. Trying to think of what else I use. A lot of that kind of stuff. Just the standard Logic tremolo is kind of cool, but what they call a tremolo is actually a panner, which is weird. And I use that quite a bit on different shit.
Yeah, tremolo is more of a ducking kind of effect.
Yeah. Waves Mondo mod is really cool. That's like a 3-part modulator that does it pans, it does amplitude modulation, also does frequency modulation. And so it kind of just adds movement to your overall sound, with a bit of chorus effect if you add the mix in. So that's really cool.
There's one that I do use actually.
What's that?
The Brewer Motion.
Oh, yeah.
Logic just crashed.
Oh no.
This fucking new update, bro.
Oh, it's trash.
It's like
they've
added a lot of stuff, but now it's so unstable. It just crashes randomly and shit.
I kind of want to go
back
until they fix it.
I don't know. Is it easy though?
Yeah, I know the one. The BRAUER. I think it's. I can't remember. Brow motion. There it is.
I use this one quite a bit actually.
I haven't played with that one. What is it? An circular auto panner. What the fuck?
Yeah. Just like creates a weird space around instruments.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of whack.
It looks
really
whack.
cool on synths. But yeah, it does like a whole bunch of pitching and tremolo effects and
hell yeah,
all that kind of stuff. You can add distortion. Yeah, that's pretty whack, but it's cool. Like if you need a certain kind of like, you're like, oh, synth is cool, but like it needs to be doing something else or something more interesting.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so I use that. Other than that, like I don't really use a great deal.
Man,
modulation.
I do so much modulation, but I guess that's part of the beat making world is just like creating a lot of like whack sounds, especially with like modern trap and shit like that. Everything's really affected.
Definitely.
But yeah, that looks really cool. I might have a look at that one. $30.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
Maybe just look up some reviews and just like gauge its vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cool.
Oh, yeah, dude.
A lot of cool shit out there. Do you use any doublers like to split your track?
Yeah.
What do you use?
So I guess that is modulation, isn't it? Doubler. I use a doubler on every single song.
Oh, really?
Every one.
What?
Yeah.
Which one?
Vocals.
No, which
More
doubler?
Specifically. Which? Just the Waves one.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Waves is the only. That's the only one that I've found that I've used that doesn't fuck up your mix when you go to mono.
Oh yeah.
When you
like you get weird phasing stuff happening.
Yeah, when you put it on something that's like quite important, like a guitar or something, you can do that and it'll sound awesome. And then when you go to mono, it still sounds awesome. I found a lot of them when you do that, like you go to mono and it's just trash. It just like messes it up real bad. But yeah, that's a solid one.
Yeah, I use that on almost everything. All backup vocals, I stick a doubler on. All like background vocals, so like big wide stuff.
Yep.
I throw doublers on just because it just thickens them up, makes them more lush.
Here's a trick that I do quite a bit. Is I add the doubler onto my vocal delay.
Oh yeah.
So
cool.
when it gets delayed back, it's really wide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've done that before actually.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it sounds really, really cool.
Yeah.
I've actually I used to put doublers on mono guitars as well.
Yeah. So
It's
good.
another cool way of making them sound a bit more interesting, a bit more full.
Hell yeah.
And then yeah, I usually do this as well. If I'm double tracking a vocal for a chorus or something, I'll have like the lead vocal like mono and in the center, but the second one, I'll put the doubler on.
Yeah.
And tuck it up, and then it just sounds
Hell
huge.
yeah.
So effectively, it's 4 vocals.
Yeah.
All doing the one thing, and it just sounds so thick.
Yeah, I
awesome.
definitely do that as well. Yeah, that's sick. That's a solid plugin. That gets a fair workout from me as well.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Shit, yeah.
Man, I think we're getting pretty close.
I was thinking we should probably call it.
Yeah, we've been here for over 2 hours now. These are getting longer every time.
Oops.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe with the instrument one, maybe next time we could take a few calls from people or something. Or we could like get them to join.
Yeah.
And just like get them to like maybe towards like or something. Just get people involved. See what their favorite plugins are and what their favorite MIDI instruments. Maybe the next one we could do MIDI instruments, or just instrument plugins in general.
Yeah, that'd be sick. Yeah. Well, maybe we'll talk about it and we'll figure it out. That we'll probably have one of these on this weekend, I'm guessing.
Yeah, maybe on Saturday
night. So if anyone's watching and wants to join in the next one of these and check it out and maybe be a part of it, Saturday night is when we'll be doing it. Probably around the same time, the 7:30 mark, which if you are in New York, it will be 5:30 a.m. So you probably don't want to be there. But for everyone all around the rest of the world, New York, 5:30 a.m. time-ish is when we'll be starting this. And if you're in Australia like we are, then it'll be 7:30 p.m.-ish time Saturday night.
Pure beer o'clock time.
Pure beer o'clock. So get your beers, come down, get ready to talk more plugins with us, and Flex's got some weird MIDI shit.
Yeah.
Ooh. Maybe we might have to get him in there and have a chat about it.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, we'll call it there. Thanks so much for watching, guys. We appreciate having you on. We'll keep doing this, and if you have any suggestions for stuff to talk about or anything like that, definitely hit us up. We are always open to hearing what you got to say. So yeah, from us, peace out, and we'll catch you all next time.
Peace.